In this video, let's discuss the Google Tag Gateway, how it works, what are the benefits, and how to set it up. That's the goal. Let's get started. Welcome back, users, and back to the screen. You will see that how traditionally Google Tag Manager works generally with the website. So when you make a Google Tag Manager connection to the website, how the data flows to, let's say, one endpoint such as Google Analytics. Okay, so let's see how it will work. Okay, so there's your website, and you have made those pixel code or tracking code connection from GTM. You get the GTM tracking code, you paste it in the head section of all the pages of your website, and the connection gets made, right? And on the other side, maybe you have written a Google Analytics connection from GTM to your Google Analytics account. Okay, so what happens is whenever a user, let's say, goes and loads a page on your website, the script that is being run by the Google Tag Manager runs, it captures the page load information, sends to Google Analytics. But the page is on your domain, right? The one that you own, it's your website. Where is that script coming from? The Google Tag Manager script that I'm talking about. That is run by Google servers. It's by default, it's googletagmanager.com. This is the domain that has got that script that runs along with your website on the client browser. Okay, so this is the another website domain that is not owned by you, but somebody else. And these are prone to, ad blocker issues and so on. And you are technically sending it to some other domain that can cause issues for your client, for your visitors who are visiting the website, privacy and so on. So there could be multiple things going wrong over here. So to fix that, there is this solution that has come up that let's use Google Tag Gateway. Okay, so what will happen then? Your website comes in and /measure, you see that website example.com, and it goes through a tag gateway example.com/measure. Okay, it's also your website, and then the data goes to Google Analytics 4. But how is it possible? This is what can be done with Google Tag Gateway. You don't have to go to googletagmanager.com anymore. On the client browser, on the browser where your users are running the website, you can actually start from example.com, send the data via your own domain, and that gets captured inside the Google Analytics 4. Let's see how we can achieve this. Now let's see the scenario. Right now on the screen, you will see that there is this website, rudrinil.in. Okay, and it's a very simple website. There's one simple text over here. You can read the domain. You can see it over there, right? Now, this website has got this Google Tag Manager account connected to it. All right. And it has got one Google Analytics tag running inside it. There you go. The tag is running over here. If I right click and try to inspect the website, you will see that inside the head section, I have got the Google Tag Manager script running over here. Okay. Now I want you to check the sources tab over here. You will see that there is googletagmanager.com and also the Google tag. Okay. And if I open this one, open in a new tab, you will see that it opens in googletagmanager.com/gtm.js and then the ID of your Google Tag Manager. Okay. So this domain is not your domain. It's Google's domain. So what happens is the data, when a user, let's say, loads a page, that page load data from your website or from the client system where the browser is running goes to googletagmanager.com, gets processed and sent to Google Analytics, right? That's how it's happening. That's the first diagram that we had seen. Now what we want to do is we want to change this. We want to say this is example.com or rather rudrinil.in because that's the domain we are using right now. So we want this to get routed from rudrinil.in/some URL, some slug. So how to do that? That's the role of Google Tag Gateway, right? Let's go to Google Tag Manager. And once you are in here, you have to go to admin and you will need a CDN to do that. Okay. You can check more about CDN if you don't already know. Click on that Google Tag Gateway. And this is how you can process. This is where you can do the processing. You click on continue and you get all these options. All right. Now here I can select the Cloudflare option. That's probably the most popular and the easiest one right now to do that. Now all these CDNs have got support from Google and they have got it already done. Okay, so with a few button clicks we can get things done. That's the promise of the CDNs. You can do it manually, but it's going to be a bit more difficult. All right. So for our website, we are going to use Cloudflare. But even before starting to do this, we need to set up the website with Cloudflare. Okay, right now my website, the domain is on Google, on GoDaddy. The hosting of those pages that you saw is inside Hostinger. Okay, and if you have to learn about how website hosting and all this works, you can obviously check out some more documents on the internet. But if you know that what's hosting and what domain is and so on, we should have good enough information to get started. So here I am going to my Cloudflare account. You should open your own Cloudflare account. And if you go to this place called domain and overview over here, you'll come to this location. So you can click on add domain over here. Click on connect a domain. And here you say the domain name. Click on continue. And you get this free plan, pro plan, and so on. You select the free plan for now. And that's what your screen would show. Now what it's trying to do is it's trying to copy all the DNS records from wherever this site is hosted onto the Cloudflare system. Okay, so that's how it looks like, DNS records. Now touching DNS records is a bit tricky. It can break your website. It can break your email system and so on. So you should be careful what you're doing over here. If you're not sure what DNS records are and if everything is working right or not, you can get help from outside, or you can go through documents and understand it and then go ahead. So be careful before going forward with this step. My website is a demo website, so I can just go and click on continue activation. Okay, now it has figured it out that the registrar is GoDaddy. From here it's asking me to change these name servers. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do next. So there I am. That's rudrinil.in, the DNS section of my website, and I'm going to change these two DNSs and use the ones that's provided by Cloudflare. That's the first one. And that's the second one. Now I'll save it. Continue. And that's it. Now it has been saved successfully. Okay. Now the way it works is it takes some time for these name servers to get updated. Okay. Now this sometime can be sometimes 24 hours, right? So you need to wait. But generally what I've seen is a few minutes to an hour is good enough for the name servers to get done. Okay. So after about 10 minutes, we have the Cloudflare working. Okay. I'll show that to you. So here over the domains part inside Cloudflare, you will see that rudrinil.in is showing active now. Okay, before this, it was showing invalid. And now we are ready to go to the Google Tag Manager once again. And remember the platform choice and all that we are discussing that. Now, if you put in HTTPS over here, the website domain, and click on scan, you should be able to see this. Okay, that Cloudflare has been detected. This is what we want. Okay, so we'll click on continue. And it will show that, okay, everything looks fine over here. I need to sign into Cloudflare and complete this setup. Let's click on sign into Cloudflare. So everything looks good. Click on authorize. Okay, so we have signed up in Cloudflare. If you open this URL, by the way, you will see that it's telling you what is the /slug that's going to be used for your GTG, Google Tag Gateway installation, which means that where exactly that, remember the gtm.js file inside the googletagmanager.com, where exactly that file is going to reside. That is what it's asking over here. Okay, so here we will give some reasonable name. Let's say we call it measure or something, or you can also call it metrics. It's up to you. Now that's it. You put /measure and click on complete setup. And that's it. It's done. Now, if I click on this manage in Cloudflare, you'll be able to see what's going on inside Cloudflare. Okay, so I'll select rootreal.in and I'll go inside web tag management. Okay, so delivery and performance, web tag management, and Google Tag Gateway. And then I click over here. There you see it's enabled. There's some configuration over here. You can click on that configuration. If you want to change the measure, you can change that. If you want to change the Google Tag ID, you can change that. We don't want all that. Okay, it's already done over here. Now, what can we do? Next, we have to test this. How do we test it? If it is working, if the GTG is on and so on, right? First of all, let's click on done and close it. Go to our workspace. Now, we'll go to our website once again. We'll hard refresh it once. And this is where you see that something has changed. Okay. Now, the Google Tag Manager does exist over here. Okay. Something is happening over here. We see that, right? We'll come to that shortly. But you'll also see that now rootreal.in is already added. And here inside this, you have got this measure folder. And inside measure folder, some stuff is going on. Okay. You see that it's the same code that was there in Google Tag Manager.com/gtm.js, right? It's the same code showing up over here. You'll also find it over here, right? So what it says is, what's this showing is that this measure is actually sending some data to our Google Analytics, okay? And it's no more Google Tag Manager.com, but it still exists. Why does this exist? We'll talk about that later. Let's quickly go to network tab to see another important information. You'll see that when the page loaded over here, the network tab is loading the domain name and other files and so on. And it also loaded the measure. And what is measure doing actually? Measure is basically loading that Google Tag Manager JavaScript code, okay, which is going to send your data to Google Analytics. And you will see that gtm.js is also loading. We have to get rid of that. I've said it quite a few times now. We'll do that. And you will see that this one. What is this? This is your Google Analytics payload. Okay, you see that measure/ga/something and so on. It is sending data to Google Analytics, but then it's going via our domain. Yeah, it's not Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager and so on. So if I open a window over here and say rootreal.in, an incognito window, there's the page load. And let's go to analytics and see what happens over here. There you see a new page has loaded. Now, what has changed over here is that this particular Google Tag Manager's script is no more loading from a Google domain, but loading from your domain. Okay. And this also helps you because the ad blockers would generally target those domains that are common in nature, that are well known, and so on. It will not block your own domain. And Google Tag Gateway helps you achieve that and keep everything inside your own ecosystem. Now you can connect Facebook or you can connect HubSpot, you can connect Hotjar, whatever tool you want to using this GTM setup, and all of them will be served from that /measure URL. Okay, one final thing to close. Remember, we had said that, well, this gtm.js is also loading the same code over here, and measure that we have done through the GTG is also putting the same code on the website. So the code is getting executed twice. We don't need that. Why is this happening? This is happening because the measure is taking care of your Google Tag Manager tracking code as well. The tracking code, the plain simple one that you find inside Google Tag Manager. Right now, that page where we have got that code running, okay, rootreal.in, you'll see that if I go behind the scene of that page, the Google Tag Manager is loading over here, right? The usual ones that we generally do. But the same thing is now also getting done by Cloudflare, okay, in this configuration. That's the reason when I clicked on this update configuration, you saw that it's asking for the tag ID. The reason was quite simple, because it is also loading the tracking code of Google Tag Manager on our browser. So we need to get rid of this one. We don't need it. So we will remove it from here. Gone. And we will also remove it from here. Gone. And it's the plain website code that you can see over here. Let's save it. Now, if I load rudranil.in, let me go to the Elements tab and refresh it. Now you will see that over here in the head section, you will see that the load that's happening, this entire thing, this is from /measure, right? It is the Google tags first party, and all those first party things are showing up over here. It's not the usual tracking code because that we have already removed. Yeah, it's already gone. Same case in the body as well. The script is coming from Cloudflare. It's not the usual GTM tracking code. This is what I wanted to show. And once this is done, if I go to the sources folder, you will see that only the /measure exists right now and rest of it is gone. It will have something related to Cloudflare, that's fine. But the thing is that the usual loading of the Google Tag Manager is eliminated and still this will run. If you want to see if it is running or not, you can go to analytics because that's the endpoint we are testing right now. And we should be able to see it over there. There you see our traffic is running. Back to our diagram, you will see that the same diagram is talking about what we set up, right? Website goes to /measure, and then from there, the data goes to Google Analytics 4. How about the server side? If some of you have this question that, well, this looks very similar to server side. Remember that this is not really similar to server side. What it is doing is it's changing the client side, right? What loads on your users, on your visitors browser when they visit your website is changing, but the server side is where this data first gets sent to. Okay, so if /measure sends the data, where does it send to? Does it directly send to Google Analytics 4? Or does it route it via some place where you can make some modifications to the data that's going, like redacting the IP address and sending it forward, right? Those are the decisions that you take with server side. So if this was, this already had a server side setup, it would look something slightly different. It would look like this. Measure, it goes to server side GTM, and from there, it goes to the rest of the endpoints. Right? Does it make sense? Now it's the /measure. It's not directly sending it to Google Analytics 4 or Google Ads and so on. It's sending it to server side where you can massage the data and then send it forward. I hope that this makes sense. Thank you for joining in.